Hey YouTube, Jason Ramos here with Day Trading Fearless and another tips and tricks of trading the stock market. So if you're new here, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. But just to kind of let you know, what we do is we give tips and tricks of how to trade the stock market. We'll give you anything and everything to do with the markets. And that goes to chart patterns, how to enter trades, low risk, high reward, and again, everything and anything. So today we're going to talk about head and shoulder chart patterns, okay? We're going to kind of describe them, give you visuals of what they look like, and then kind of give you some tips and tricks of what you could do to be able to enter these at a good entry point. But I'm also going to show you another twist of what I like to do in the way I like to trade them. So let's get right into it. Okay, so here we are at the charts, and a couple things that I personally enjoy with head and shoulders is looking for them, right? Because it's kind of at first they're hard to see, but at the end, but once you start to see them and recognize them, they pop up all over the place, okay? Now, there are two things. There's a head and shoulders, and then there's also a inverse head and shoulders. So essentially, this is what a head and shoulders is. Price rallies, we pull back, okay, to a level. If we rally again, make a new high, price usually pulls back down to the support level. We rally again, but usually price will come back up to the previous shoulder. Okay, so essentially you have the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder, right? And then price will stall out and then reverse back down and go back down to the support level. So essentially you have the head and shoulders pattern, okay? And you could say this is your neckline right here. So what happens is when price fails below here, a lot of times what price will do, and this is going to help you with your entries of waiting for that confirmation and give you very low risk to high reward type of trade, okay? What happens is price will fall, okay? You don't enter the trade yet, okay? You wait for the snapback to old support is now going to become new resistance, right? And then price usually will roll back over. Now, what you have, if you kind of look at the bigger picture, is a series of lower highs and lower lows, right? So you could almost say, hey, this is how channels form, something like this, right? So that's essentially the pattern that you want to look for when entering a head and shoulders trade and the way the head and shoulders works. Now, me personally, okay, I like to trade the targets. Now, really simple rule of something to understand is whenever you trade patterns like wedges or channels, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders, double tops, double bottoms, usually what happens is from the high to the low of the move, okay, if you duplicate that, okay, the very low becomes your target, okay? So this pattern, if you flip this pattern over, your target is going to usually become right down at this level, right? So 100% move. Now, the way I like to actually trade head and shoulder patterns is if we don't get that snapback and I don't enter on there, because remember, your entry is right around here, your exit could be above this high, it's negated. Maybe risk one to make two type of trade, right? Because you're going to look for the 100% or just before it to take your profits. The second thing, the way I like to trade them is I like to actually trade around the 100%. So if I know this is a head and shoulders, we have the 100% down here, we'll say, I'll look to enter the trade right down here, okay? And what I do is I look to get long over here, and maybe I'll give it, again, depending on the stock, a little room, but almost this trade works out about 95% of the time, meaning if you enter somewhere before the 100% to the 100, 105, 10% move of the entire pattern, okay, this trade's going to work out about 95% of the time to make money. Now, you're not going to make a lot. This is more of a smash and grab trade, but it's a very, very high probability trade. So let's erase all these lines we drew, and let's try and identify some of these head and shoulders, right? We have one here. Now, the other real important thing to remember is they are not always clean. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So what we have here is a head and shoulders, okay? Head and shoulders are not always going to be perfect, okay? Meaning sometimes you might have the right shoulder higher or the right shoulder might be lower. They could come in all different forms, something like this, right? Here's another head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder, right? Here's your neckline. Right here, as you could see, price came right down and bounced, okay? And then if we actually extend this over, okay, so here we have price rallies, pull back a little bit, right? Price makes a new high, pulls back. Here's kind of the pullback here, back to the support level. Sometimes it's all the way down here, sometimes it's up here. There's no specific way of how this happens, okay? Just so you understand. So, but it's the gist of it, and that's kind of the look at the bigger picture of it. Here, price rallies, we don't break above the high, we fail, we come back down. Look at this, support level, right? Price comes, double bottom, we try a rally, but it fails and makes a new low, okay? Now, like I was saying, you want to look to enter on the kickback. Old support becomes new resistance, and then what does price do? It bounces around, and then the sellers come in and sell this thing off even more. Now, second thing is I like to grab my Fibonacci extension tool, okay? And I like to draw from high to the low, back to the high, okay? And look at how well this reacts, okay? We come down to the 127, bounce, the 161, bounce, and then exactly to the tick, the 200, or the 100% move of this entire thing. This is why I say this is about a 95% win rate, maybe even higher, because the thinking behind this, everybody who is short this, that is their target to exit, and then everybody who's looking to enter the trade, that's where they're looking. So kind of keep it simple and basic, but that is the head and shoulders pattern. And a lot of times, if you're patient, okay, these things do take time to work out, okay? So I'm back here with you guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope you'll be able to kind of look for these head and shoulder patterns in your own trading. Again, you're not going to learn them overnight or identify them overnight. They do take time. Remember, you can have slanted head and shoulders, you can have regular head and shoulders, everything like that. So we are going to be doing also a inverse head and shoulders and ways to look at. And remember, the Fibonacci extensions are sometimes your best friend for where to enter or exit a trade. I love them. I love them. I love them. Make sure you go through my videos and look for my Fibonacci extension trading course, as I have a couple different ones on there, or videos that explain them more in depth. They are probably my #1 tool to use, apart from, of course, trend lines. So until next time, make sure you subscribe. If you look down below, I have some recommended reading books from Amazon. Also, recommended brokers. If you use Thinkorswim, Tastyworks, anybody like that, Stage 5 Trading Bookmap, these are all the people I trade with. So make sure you check them out. And if you have any questions, comment, I'll get back to you. But until next time, thank you.